All right, let's dive into one of the most wild family dramas ever told, the story of Jacob and Esau. I mean, this has everything. A stolen blessing, a brother boiling with rage, a mother's high-stakes gamble, and it all comes down to a single powerful act that, once done, could never be undone.
And that right there is the central puzzle, isn't it? Jacob totally lies to his blind father to snatch a blessing that was meant for his older brother. So you gotta ask, why couldn't Isaac just say, whoops, my bad, no take-backsies? Figuring out why he couldn't is the key to this whole story. This one line, wow, it captures the whole scene perfectly. You can just feel the tension. Isaac is confused. The voice he hears is absolutely his younger son Jacob, but the hairy arms he's touching, those feel like Esau's. A father's senses are at war with each other, and the future of an entire people is hanging in the balance. So, let's set the scene. You've got the patriarch, Isaac. He's old, he can't see anymore, and he feels like his time is running out. He wants to do the most important thing a father in his position can do, pass on the special family blessing to his firstborn, his favorite son, Esau. The plan's simple. Esau goes hunting, cooks up his dad's favorite meal, and then gets the blessing. Simple, right? Well, that plan is about to get completely blown up. And here's where the plot really thickens. Isaac's wife, Rebekah, overhears this whole plan. Now, she knows something that Isaac seems to be forgetting. Years and years ago, a divine prophecy said that her younger son Jacob was the one who was destined to rule over the elder, Esau. So when she hears Isaac's plan to bless Esau, she sees destiny careening off a cliff, and she decides she has to grab the wheel. And her intervention is way more than just a little nudge. I mean, she masterminds this incredibly detailed scheme. And make no mistake, this was not Jacob's idea, this was his mother's, from beginning to end. She hears the plan, she tells Jacob what to do, she cooks the food just right, and she even creates the disguise with goat skins to make Jacob's smooth arms feel like Esau's hairy ones. She is the engine driving this whole thing.
Now, Jacob is pretty nervous, and you can't blame him. He points out the biggest, most obvious flaw in the plan. Hey, Mom, my brother's a hairy guy, and I'm not. Dad's gonna feel me, realize I'm lying, and I'm gonna get a curse instead of a blessing. But Rebekah is just unshakable. She looks at him and says, let the curse be on me. She takes full responsibility. And with that, his fear is silenced, and the plan moves ahead.
And guess what? The scheme works. Isaac is completely fooled, and he gives Jacob the blessing. And man, what a blessing it was. It wasn't just a simple, good luck, son. This was a 4-part super package. It promised prosperity from the land, authority as the new head of the tribe, total dominion over his own family, yep, including Esau, and finally, that special divine protection first given to Abraham. This was a full-on transfer of power.
The timing here is just brutal, straight out of a movie. Literally, moments after Jacob walks out the door, Esau walks in, carrying the food he made, all ready to receive the blessing he's been waiting for his whole life. And when he says, "Dad, it's me," the text says Isaac begins to tremble violently. The realization just washes over him. He's been tricked. He just gave the single most important blessing of his entire life to the wrong son.
Esau's reaction is just pure agony and rage. He cries out that this is the second time Jacob has supplanted him, which is actually a play on his brother's name. He says, first he conned me out of my birthright for a bowl of soup, and now, look, he's stolen my blessing. From where Esau's standing, this is just a pattern of theft and betrayal from his twin brother.
Esau is desperate. He begs his father for any kind of blessing, anything that's left. And Isaac does give him one. But when you put them side by side, wow, the contrast is stark. Sure, they both get a promise of prosperity, but the core messages are polar opposites. Jacob is told he'll be lord over his brother. Esau is told he will serve his brother. Jacob gets to rule, while Esau is told he'll live by the sword, a life of struggle and conflict. The fallout is immediate and just devastating. It's like a series of dominoes. After Isaac says the blessing is irrevocable, Esau is just consumed by hatred, and he vows to kill Jacob the minute their father is gone. Rebekah hears about this death threat, and to save her favorite son's life, she sends him into exile, far away. The deception didn't just cause a fight, it completely shattered their family. So we come back to that central mystery. Why? Even Esau doesn't get it. Why can't his dad just say, I messed up, let's reverse it? Isaac was the victim of a trick, so why couldn't he fix his own mistake? Well, the answer isn't about Isaac's rules. It's about the very nature of the blessing itself.
You see, this was no ordinary, everyday blessing.
This was what's called a priesthood blessing. And what that means is that it wasn't really Isaac's personal gift to give away. In that moment, he was acting as a channel, a conduit for a divine decree. The power behind the words wasn't his. It came from God.
And that is the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. While Rebekah and Jacob pulled off a brilliant deception on a blind old man, they didn't and couldn't deceive God. The whole scheme, the goatskins, the lies, that was all just human drama unfolding on the surface. Underneath it all, a divine plan was being carried out. Think about all the different forces at play here. You had Isaac's intention, which was to bless Esau. You had Rebekah's scheme, which was to help Jacob. But towering over both of those was God's will, which, remember, according to that old prophecy, was always for Jacob to get the blessing. So the human actions, as messy and deceptive as they were, ended up aligning perfectly with the divine outcome. That's what Isaac realized in that moment when he was trembling. He understood that even though he'd been tricked, the blessing had been delivered by the Spirit of God. He was just the vessel. And because it came from God, no person, not even the patriarch who spoke the words, had the power to take it back. It was final, it was irrevocable.
So in the end, we're left with this really fascinating question. Was it a story of deception, or was it a story of destiny? It was, without a doubt, a messy act of human trickery. And yet, it perfectly fulfilled a divine prophecy. The story doesn't really give us a simple answer. Instead, it seems to suggest that sometimes the path to destiny isn't a straight line. Sometimes it's winding, complicated, and, profoundly human.